contacts hotels. They make them offers which are much lower than the hotels get paid from tour operators in the summertime. This kind of trip, if you book it for September, believe me, you would pay 3 times more. Even more expensive, I can imagine, if you do it in other times of the year. And so it all somehow is a chain of compromises. The ones who are involved, everyone accepts worse conditions. The hotel owner, as like this bus for example, of course Ali is not the owner of the bus. He is just a driver. The bus belongs to a company you won't believe they have, and even such a big company really cares about that and accepts these conditions in the winter time. They have more than 1,000 buses, and it is a company from Antalya, and all their buses are very busy in the summertime. Every day, 24 hours, these buses are rolling in the summertime. But then when the charter flights end, when there is no more tourism, what happens to all these buses? They get parked somewhere, and as long they are parked, not working, not making money, they are causing costs. Insurance, tax, keep them in good condition. So the bus company says, okay, before I park the bus somewhere and have my costs anyway, I accept these much lower conditions, and the bus is gonna work. So at least one is employed. To him, they say, okay, we can't pay you what we pay in the summer, but you have the opportunity to sell some drinks, you have the opportunity, you're going to get tips, and of course there is a low salary. Fact is that everyone, including me, is accepting these kind of conditions. I work in Kusadasi in the summertime, which is having a port very popular. Every day we get 2-3 cruise ships. So I have a lot of Americans I guide, for example, in the summertime. Not only from the cruise ships, there is holiday resorts. I'm a freelancing tour guide, and it's quite easy jobs. I pick people from the port, do an excursion 5-6 hours and drop them, and the job is done. 2 o'clock I'm home, 3 o'clock I'm home. So easy, isn't it? But on this tour I am involved 7 days away from home. On this trip I'm happy, I'm lucky I can stay home 3 days a week. But when I was working in Crete, on the Balkans, it was being away for 3 months. My daughter, she turned 11 this summer. I think I have missed 5 years of her life working for TSS in different destinations in all the years. And so, of course, in the summertime, in 3 days, I make more money than I get for a whole week for TSS. But I'm not complaining, don't take me wrong. Totally opposite, I'm happy. Because I know if I would say, no, I don't work for this money, I would be home. And I would be living from my savings. Which means that I will probably use all my savings over the winter time, and I would looking that the season begins and I can make money again in the summer. So every year you begin from zero if you can't work. And so I accept these conditions as like the hotels, as like drivers, as like bus companies, even the airline. Imagine the airline you came with, what was it? Cyprus. Aegean? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Most often it's smaller airlines you travel with us, because these airlines accept our conditions, because these flights, these charters we have, they fly a chain 2 months non-stop every day. If we wouldn't hire these flights, for example these planes, they probably would be parked somewhere, same like the bus. And so all this together, ladies and gentlemen, makes it possible that TSS can offer this low price, which is the catcher. You all got caught by that. You saw this low price and you thought, oh my goodness, look, let's do it. Let's try. Maybe there is a hook, we will see. Am I right? Do you agree to my words? I feel many hats saying yes. I think I'm talking from your thoughts, kind of. Because I'm a human, ladies and gentlemen. If I put myself on one of these seats, I would think the same way like you. When seeing this offer, I would ask myself. But this is how it can be. First of all these worst conditions accepted by everyone who is involved. And furthermore, of course, where does TSS operate this winter concept? Turkey, Greece, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, many other destinations actually. We used to have Morocco for a long time, right? And we used to have other destinations in Turkey. But if you look, it only is the countries in which tourism plays that important role. Because otherwise you can't get support from local authorities, local politics, and local business. I remember the years when TSS started this in 2010. We used to do an operation you won't believe. Now we are 4 buses parallel. It only is 1 flight per day, correct? I remember when we had 3 flights a day, and when it was 12 to 16 buses doing the trip parallel, arriving the same day. It was a huge operation. In those years, the Turkish government, in the first season, when TSS started offering this in Turkey, West Coast, it was a great trip. Maybe you did it, I don't know. People used to arrive in Izmir. It was the West Coast up to Troy, with 2 nights in Ayvalık and the rest in Kusadasi. It was a very popular tour. I worked 5 years, first with Germans, then with English, then with Scandinavians on that tour. And I remember in those years, the very first year when TSS started, they got the flight paid by the Turkish government, because it was really almost 100,000 people who came to the west of Turkey because of TSS. So they got the support from the country's government. And in other areas, it is local authorities and politics which give support. It is, of course, local business which gives support. And so it comes that these shopping opportunities are involved. Wherever you travel, you have accepted it. Because in your literature, you see it is announced in the itinerary as like every else place. As like today, we have Pamukkale in our program. Tomorrow is the carpet place schedules. So of course there will be a certain time, and the same we can say for day 6, the day after tomorrow, for the leather and the jewelry places. This all is like a chain. If one piece of the chain falls out, the whole chain is damaged. So it only can work all together or not. And so I think it is actually clear there is no hook, but there is, of course, some marketing tricks. A great advantage is that TSS owns print houses. They save a lot of money for the marketing, for the advertising of the tours, and of course all the support from in the countries where they operate. This is how this concept exists since the 1990s, by the way. TSS is not the first operator doing this. And so it comes that we are involved, because when TSS started 2010, it was before them some other German operators who used to offer this kind of concept tours in the winter. So there was many tour guides like me who used to work on these kind of tours, who knew and who were experienced. And when TSS started with such a big operation, they had a team of 100 tour guides working for them in the first years. And when then the potential for Turkey was over and they switched to other destinations, because the Turkish guides here, they all were very experienced in doing this kind of tours. They all are really getting a very high rate of satisfaction from the customers, from the guests. And so TSS was happy with its Turkish guides, and so they started to ask us if we would like to work with them even if it is not in Turkey. They asked me if I would like to go to Cyprus. I said yes. Many others said so as well, and so it comes that wherever you go, you see Turkish guides. Because all of us, we are working for many years for TSS, we are experienced in what we are doing, and we have a very high rate of satisfaction. And so TSS is happy with us, we are happy with TSS, and so it comes that wherever you go, you see mostly it's guides from Turkey. But not all of us really live and work in Turkey only. For example, in one of the parallel buses, there is a colleague who lives in Norway. He speaks Norwegian, he does the tour in Norwegian in his bus, because when the season is over, he is going to travel back to Norway. He lives there. Many of us live in Germany or other countries, but I would say a majority, of course, lives in Turkey. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, my idea was to give you a little bit background information about the company in order to get your understanding, especially because I've noticed many of you are traveling with us for the first time. So before you continue asking yourself how this can work, I thought to give you this information. I hope it was useful in order to solve question marks in your heads. And I think you believe, I hope you believe there is no hook on this thing. So let's have a short break. I'm not going to speak all the time in one piece, but there is some more things I would like to let you know. Like, let's have a look onto the geography as we are going to pass a mountainous region now on our way to the inlands. I would like to say a few words about the mountains of Turkey and about its history. I think that everyone knows Turkey is a country with a very, very old history. Human civilization history in Turkey begins with the Neolithic. There is quite a lot of places you can visit in Turkey. Archaeological areas dated to the Stone Age. And in lots of literature about Turkey, you can again and again read that Turkey is the cradle of civilizations. So pretty an interesting history. I would like to do a timeline to overview different periods. But first, as I said, let's have a short break. I will continue soon. Jane Watney. I think this fell off from your suitcase.
Viene nada.